Hello and welcome everyone on the Information Technology and Service Management PCB webinars. Today PCB is starting a new round of webinars. So I want to thank all of you for joining us. My name is Vler Arshala, the PCB organizer of this webinar, and today's topic is Service Desk between ITIL, ISO 20000 and SDI. This webinar will be presented by Mr. Yahia Al-Anwar. Mr. Yahia is a Senior IT Service Management and Project Management Consultant at EGYBYTE, with more than 20 years of international experience in ITSM, system management, security, and infrastructure. Please, if you will have any question or comments during the webinar, you can type them in a question box in the right hand control panel, or you may use the option to raise your hand. And Mr. Yahia will answer to them in the end of the presentation. Please, Mr. Yahia, you may continue.
Hello everyone, and good evening. It's now evening in Egypt. I'm saluting you and thanking you for joining me today. Our issue today that we are going to discuss is the Service Desk Institute. So we will have to discuss today what are the Service Desk discipline, how it is managed, how is it managed in every place in the world, between standards among the ITIL, the most famous framework in IT service management, ISO 20000, which is the service management system sole standard for service management, and the Service Desk Institute, which is an organization that is dedicated to service desk discipline for all its processes, personnel, and management system, and even technology used in it. Service desk is a very important concept. We have to discuss it, and perhaps it is the first thing that people will do when they try to implement the service management framework or standard in their companies. I think that this topic has been chosen because many people are asking about the service desk implementation. What is the best practices, and what are the best practices that should be used when we implement the service desk? Today, that I have known that we have only 30 minutes, and I have about 30 slides. So I will go through them quickly in order to make room for questions. And if you have any questions or you are going to ask about the service desk or the frameworks used. We will start with the first slide. It describes my connections. So if you are, if you want to connect to me, you can use my phone number, my email, the site for my company, and the Facebook also connection. Now, the contents will be: what is the service desk role? What is the service desk in general? What it is need for? And what does ITIL say about it? And ISO 20000 say about it? The Service Desk Institute, what does it say about it? And finally, we will conclude how can the IT department make use of the service desk function. We'll start now with the service desk role. Okay, if we have, I will set this aside. Okay. Okay, the first question is a very strange question. What would you like to do if you want to make a bad service? You want to provide a bad service. If you want to provide a bad service, you will let go for every support group to make their answers for the users in the IT community. We have a user community. This is a business community on the left. User 1, user 2, user 3, till user N. And we have support group from 1, 2, 3 till M. So if any user here has a problem with connection, for instance, he will call support group 1. And if he has a problem or she has a problem with the database application, she will call the group 3 or group M or whatever. And the same will go for the user 2 till user N. If this happens, this means that this is a fuss. Look, this area is a problematic area, which means that the communication will be distributed among the support group. So the customers here will find problem defining where exactly should the problem be solved. Would it be solved in support group 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever? For instance, if user 1 has a problem with the database application, she or he will call the support group, maybe support group number 1, because they are the database admins. So when the user calls the support group 1, hey, I have a problem with my database application, the support group starts to respond to this customer's needs, and then they will discover that the problem is not from their side. It's about the Active Directory, which is support group 2. So the user will go back and call support group 2. But when the Active Directory calls and responds to these calls, they will find that the problem still lies in the infrastructure or even the desktop application, the terminal application. So the user 1 will have to call support group 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so on, till the problem for he or she is solved. This is a very bad way to support people. So if you want to deliver value to your customers, you will have to do something else, something that will fix this issue, because the first issue was a database misfunctioning, and now it is about 4 misfunctioning places or areas for the user to communicate. Actually, this is called customer dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction is something that we do not want to do. We do not want to deliver customer dissatisfaction. Actually, what the service management frameworks and standards tries to tell us that we do not sell services. We do not sell services. We sell customer satisfaction. We sell value. Actually, any one of you who have heard about ITIL, ITIL 20000, the main issue or the main thing that we target is customer satisfaction. So, if this is a bad service, what would be the solution? If you want to provide a good service, you have to create something called SPOC. S-P-O-C, SPOC. SPOC means single point of contact. You have to make a single point of contact. This single point of contact is a point that all the customers and business users will have to call a one and single one connection, so that they will deliver their complaints or their requests, and this function will handle on behalf of them all the fuss behind. So the SPOC is something like a function. A function is a department. A department here is a service desk. So the service desk acts as a SPOC, as a single point of contact, which is an interface between the two worlds. This world is called the user community. This is the one on the left. And this world on the right is the technical community. We will make a distinction between them, a separating surface. A separating surface acts as a SPOC, which is the service desk. What happens is that the communication will go only between any user and the service desk. And anything that needs routing or a communication issue will be done through the service desk. So the service desk will take the requests or the complaints or the incidents or the problems from the users and take the accountability of finishing them with all the supporting groups behind. If this happens, if you have created a successful single point of contact, which is the service desk, what happens is that most probably users here will take or will gain a satisfaction. If you gain satisfaction, then you are doing a good service. You are providing now a good service. we have to differentiate between two concepts. Many people still use the naming of a help desk, but actually since ITIL version 3, the help desk nomenclature has been replaced by something called the service desk. So what is the difference? Actually, the difference lies in many aspects. A help, the name help, means that I can help and I cannot. But this is not the real case. Actually, the service desk is being paid, or the IT or the service provider is being paid to service people. So it is not a help, it's a paid service, even if this payment is not an actual payment, nominal payment. So what happens is that the ITIL version 3 and up has replaced the naming of help desk to a service desk. Not only this, but also since the version 3, the service desk has been appointed the ownership of multiple processes and also increased the help desk structure to be more viable, to be more valuable also for their customers. So we have to make sure that we do not use help desk anymore. We will have to use the name of service desk. This is a quick thing that we use. Some people also say a call center. Call center is not a suitable word. Call center is just a routing, something called catch and dispatch attitude. The call center will catch any inquiry, any request, any incident, any problem from the customer, and dispatch it to the other technical function. Actually, this is not also a good name to say about or to name your service desk function. So from now on, people should use service desk instead of help desk, or even call center, which is less than the help desk. You will find that the technicality in the call center is less than the help desk, and the help desk technicality and process ownership is less than those found in the service desk. So the service desk is much more technically empowered, much more accountability structure is being supported in the service desk function. This was a quick view about the service desk. What is it, and what is the difference between it and the help desk and the call center? Now, what are the sources that talk about service desk? Suppose I know now that the service desk is a single point of contact. It is a way of creating customer satisfaction index increase. So I want to know where are the places that I should go and explore in order to know what are the best practices that I need to know in order to implement the service desk in my IT environment. Okay, the first and the strongest thing that framework that we are going to discuss is the ITIL. We will give a short quote about the ITIL. The ITIL is the most respected framework for best standards in the field of IT service management. It has described 5 phases for the IT service provider to go through in order to deliver a service. The first stage is called the service strategy, which means that the IT service provider should firstly develop a service strategy, making the services and the portfolio of services that will be delivered, what are the demands, who are the customers, what are the market, who are the other service providers in my area, what distinguishes me from them, and so on. And this is the first stage that the ITIL is talking about. Secondly, it's talking about the service design. After you have decided what are the strategies that you will go to deliver services, you have to design a good design that will satisfy this service strategy. After designing, it will go to the implementation phase, which is the service transition. The design is translated into a live operational services along with the knowledge needed for the support guys in order to support their customers. So this is the service transition. It overlaps with the service operation, where the service transition people deliver this knowledge after building the design to the service operation people, where you can find the service desk at this stage, in order that they can support correctly and professionally their customers. In service operation, the service is being operated, supported, knowledge is transferred from the IT to the user community, and as well as doing this, the service desk or the service operation functions are gaining more experience, and they will know what are the defects that were found in the strategy, in the design, in the transition of the new services. So they need to improve this thing. This is where lies the last stage, which is called the continual service improvement stage, which covers all of these stages. This description is found here. The service strategy is the core, the design, then the transition, then the operation, and all of them are being supported by the continual service improvement stage, which improves any of these stages. Okay. Namely, the fourth stage, which is the service operation stage. This stage will describe about five processes that are being used or needed in the service operation stage. The most needed processes in these stages is something called incident management process. This process is required to respond to customers' complaints or requests as fast as possible, and also the request fulfillment process, which fulfills all the customers' needs that are being depicted or approved in the service catalog, and the access management processes that satisfies the information security process, and the problem management processes, which fixes the underlying problems in the infrastructure of IT services and infrastructure, and the event management processes, which takes care of any values or any counters that will show whether the service is running correctly or not. These are the five processes. And processes are not people, are not departments. So what is the service desk? Actually, the service desk is one of the four functions that will also be used or being implemented in the service operation stage. The ITIL describes four functions. The first one is the service desk function, and the service desk function, if you can see here, is the interface between the user community on the left and the technical community or the IT community on the right. So this is the first function, the service desk. Then comes the technical management. They are the scholars, the scientists of IT that will have deep knowledge in the mainframe systems, server system, network system, storage system, and so on. And their twin function, it's called the application management. They are also experts, but in the business application, like financial application, HR application, business application, and so on. But who really works with their hands and see the data center, sees the servers, the racks, make the backup operation, and sees the service desk, sees all, the desktop of the servers. These are called the IT operation management function. They are divided into control and facilities. Anyhow, any issue that will be in this area will not be discussed directly with the customer, or any issue in these areas will be discussed through the service desk, and also anything that the customer or this IT user needs to take from this area will also be taken through the service desk function. We have differentiated also that between the service desk and the help desk. We have said that the service desk is more technically improved from help desk, and also there is an accountability for the processes. So what are the processes that ITIL says that are being owned by the service desk? The service desk function owns two processes, namely incident management process and request fulfillment process. Incident management required from this process is to make the services up and running if they have problems or if they have issues with the customer as quickly as possible. Request fulfillment will fulfill any feasible and legal request from the customer, and also as fast as possible. Not only this, ITIL also describes that we have several structures for the service desk. The ITIL defines 3 levels or 3 structures for the service desk. Something called local service desk, something called centralized service desk, something called virtual service desk, and we have a very good version of it, which is called follow the sun. The local service desk structure means that we have a customer site, and this customer site has a function or a room for the service desk. This room is locally found in this building. So the service desk will take any request from any user and will route the request to the technical or the IT departments on the back side. This is called the local service desk. So it is locally located with the customers. This is the first one. The second one is called a centralized service desk. Okay, suppose that the company now has many branches. If this company will implement service in each building or each location, this will cause a problem with the capacity, which means that we will have many IT people doing less than required. So the best structure for this company, which has multiple locations, is to gather the service desk people and put them in a site that will be centralized to all the sites that are being supported. This structure is called the centralized service desk. It will contain less people and will make better service for the customers in multiple sites. This is the centralized. So what happens if this company increased in this business and now has national locations and international locations? For instance, the company is now international, as in San Francisco, Rio de Janeiro, Sydney, and so on, in Cairo, Albania, and so on. So we have all these branches looking to the service desk. We have a problem now because some people will be on the day and these people will be in night. So we'll have to make a virtual service. What happens the virtual service desk is that any customer in any location of these locations, if they call, for instance, the extension number 111, when they call 111, anyone will respond to them. They will find that sometimes an Arabic man will respond to them, and if they close the connection and try to reconnect, they will find an Englishman responding to them, or an English woman, or an English or a French guy responding to them. So this means the service desk is not found in a single location. It is found in multiple locations, and it is a virtual location. It's a virtual number. So if the customer calls 111 from any place, sometimes he gets a response from any service desk implemented in any place in the world. This is a virtual service desk. This implementation has a problem because some people will work in night, and some people work in midday, and some people work very early. This has caused many problems in the support environment because the people working at night most probably will get ill. So what happens? The best thing is to make something called a new version from the virtual services. It's called follow the sun service desk. The follow the sun service desk, we will choose 3 longitudinal lines like this. The 3 longitudinal lines will cover the earth in 24 hours. We will take a first line like this, and it will be leading this line by 8 hours, and this one will be leading that one by 8 hours, and this one will be leading that one in 8 hours. If you do so, you will get a 24 support hours. Make these service desks working hours from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. And this is a very suitable thing. If this line works, if this service desk works from 9 to 5, at 5, this one will be 9. So start working from 9 to 5. At 5, it will be here at 9, and so on till you reach this one. If this reaches 5 p.m., it will get at 9 a.m. at this place. So you need 3 longitudinal lines to cover the earth at 24 hours per day service desk implementation. This one will fix the problems in the virtual services. This is what is discussed in ITIL in short, of course. Okay, Suppose I'm a company that I'm seeking a quality certificate that certifies that my IT department or my IT service provider is a quality IT service provider. You can go and get ISO 9000, but this is not a specific standard for the IT service management. Okay, can you lead me to a service management standard that is dedicated to IT service management? Yes. Yes, this standard is named ISO IEC 20000. This is the sole or the only standard that will make sure that you are certified against a quality criteria that will certify also that you have a service management system. This is called the ISO 20000. Okay, many companies seek the ISO 20000 for many reasons: to improve their quality, the process quality and the performance quality, to improve the governance, to improve customer satisfaction, to increase customer base and value creation. If you say that I am certified ISO 20000 IT service provider, people will go and try to make deals with you because you have quality, and also you can use it to marketize your services. Okay. When people go to be certified against ISO 20000, they have to make sure that they have a number and a list of requirements that lies under something called clauses. It's about 5 clauses, starting from clause 5 till 9, and these clauses describe definite requirements that should be found in your IT environment in order to gain this certificate. Service desk is not discussed clearly as a separate requirement in ISO 20000, even though there are some parts under these clauses that will need the implementation of the service desk in order that you will gain the ISO 20000 certificate. So if your company or you are going to certify another company in ISO 20000, you have to make sure that you satisfy clause 6, 7, and 8, which are discussing or requiring that you have a service desk implementation in place in your service provider's environment. This was the ITIL and the ISO 20000. So if I'm going to implement the ISO, I will check ITIL, I will check also the ISO, and also there is a very valuable place or framework that you need to visit in order to make sure that you have a good implementation of the service desk function in your IT environment. This place is called the Service Desk Institute. This is an organization that is dedicated for leading professionals, everyone that is working in IT and service, to support this industry. They discuss the service desk implementation thoroughly. They are discussing the people that will work. They are called agents, sometimes professional team leaders, and sometimes managers. It discusses what are the processes that the service desk should manage, and what are the disciplines that should be in place in order to manage them, and what are the skills needed for the service desk agents, professionals, and managers and team leaders. And also it will discuss the communication equipment. It will discuss the technology that is needed by the service desk in order to deliver a very good service desk implementation. So you will have to refer to the Service Desk Institute and their publication in order to get a thorough and deep knowledge about the service desk implementation. These 3 frameworks will help you to make a very good view about the service desk implementation. So if I am an IT department and I want to make use of the service desk in order to improve my figure, in order to improve my numbers, in order to improve my KPIs or improve my income even and benefits, so what should I do? Okay, first of all, you must create a single point of contact to your customers, which will improve their satisfaction later on. And when I say a SPOC, I mean a SPOC, which means that it is not allowed that the users to be in connection with the technical area. They only should be connected to them through the service desk or the single point of contact. So if you have this service desk in place, you will gain a very huge value from this. One of them is collecting the management data. You will get management data in your hands, and this will help you very much in decision making, in building a better strategy, in building a better design, in transitioning a better solutions, and also in operating them and improving them. Also, you will know what are the demands that the customer. For instance, you will say that after implementing the service desk for a while and have been collecting data, it is very obvious that people require the Active Directory or the directory services too much during the login hours and logout hours. So in 9 a.m. till 9:30, for instance, people hardly use or heavily use the Active Directory or the directory services in general. And when they leave also the office, they also have a high demand on the directory services server. So between them and after that, you will not need this traffic on these servers. So you might decide that you virtualize your directory services servers, for instance. This is a very important decision that you will make from the data collected from the service desk and the demand fluctuation. Also, you will find and discover customer needs. The service desk will collect and record and log all the requests and complaints during their working hours. So you will get also a deeper knowledge of the actual user needs. So you will better deliver services that suit their needs rather than giving services like this. Also, you will assign ownership to the service desk for specific processes. And if you want to refer to ITIL, you will give them the incident and request fulfillment processes. If you do this, you don't have a service management in place. If you don't have a service management framework in your company or your IT organization, from this point, if you implemented the service desk, you can go on and start implementing the IT service management, which is considered the best practice nowadays in the world. So if you want to use or want to refer to some frameworks, you have to go to the ITIL publication. You have 5 reference manuals in ITIL. You can get it from axelos.com. Axelos, X-E-L-O-S. This is the site or the owner of the ITIL nowadays. And you can refer also to the Service Desk Institute publication. You can go to ISO 20000 publication. And if you are seeking a security standard, you can go to ISO 27001. This will help you in implementing the service desk. I hope this was a beneficial session for you guys, and I hope that if you have any questions now, you can raise your hands and ask me, and you can also refer to my connections here if you want to call me on the phone or through email or LinkedIn. These are my contacts, and I now give the stage for Vilrar. So Vilrar, you can take over now and let me know if I can help anyone in any question or needs that they want to inquire about.
Thank you, Mr. Yahia. It was a really great presentation. So now it's time for a question. But first, I can see that Mr. Riyadi has raised his hand. So sorry, now Mr. Riyadi has left. Also, we will continue with Mr. Sita. I can see this, that Mr. Sita has raised his hand. So, Mr. Sita, I'm going to unmute your microphone, and you can ask your question. Just a moment, please. Okay, Mr. Sita, now I have unmuted you, so please ask your question. I think that his microphone is not working, so we'll continue with Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali, I'm going to unmute you. and after you can ask your question. Please, Mr. Ali, go ahead with your questions. I think also his microphone is not working or has any problem. So, Mr. Yahia, we will continue with some questions that attendees has asked for you. First question is, what is the relationship between ISO 20000 and ITIL?
Well, you can hear me now, everybody?
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Okay. Actually, ISO 20000 will not be implemented unless you implement the ITIL. This is why, because ISO 20000 is built upon ITIL version 2. So, what is required is written in ISO 20000. How to do the requirements, how to implement the requirements is described in ITIL. So, ISO 20000 will not tell you how to build the requirements. ISO 20000 will go and check that these requirements are in place. So if the ISO 20000 is asking you, do you have a service desk in place? You will say, what's a service desk? How can I find the definition for the service desk or for the process, blah, blah, blah. You will have to go to ITIL and see this description of the process and how to build this process. So if you want to implement ISO 20000, you have to, if you want to gain, if you want to gain an ISO 20000 certificate, you have to implement the requirements from ITIL. So the checklist is ISO 20000. The implementation route is in ITIL. So this is the relation.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question is, how service desk is proactive?
Okay, proactivity means that you have a management data. Proactivity means that you use your risk management techniques in order to make sure that the uncertainty that is not in place now might happen, and how can I provide a fixed rate even though it has not yet happened. So if you want to make sure that you have risk management in place, you have to firstly to implement the service desk. And the most important thing in anything is that you document and log management information. When you document and log the management information, you can use your prediction. You can use the risk management. If you use any of these or the design criteria based on risk, so if you do so, you will be a proactive. Proactivity is never justified by having an event management system. Proactivity means that you use the uncertainty and probability to fix things that has not yet happened. So the management information is the key. You have to make a management information and logs for a suitable amount of time, and then use the risk management and the design criteria that you have in place.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Yahia. Another question is, what is the minimum qualification needed by the SPOC?
Okay, this is a very variant, this has many answers. First of all, if you have read ITIL, it says that you have levels in the service desk. You have a first line support, a second line support, and a third, and so on until an end line support. Each support line increases in knowledge by its number. So support line 1, these are the people who will take the call from the customer. These people are little knowledge, and they cover most of the issues and incidents and requests that are being asked from the user community. These people are cheap in price. I mean, their fees and will be cheap. And the second line will be more technical and more advanced level, and their prices will be higher. And the third or the N level will be higher and higher and so on, higher in level and higher in costs, of course. So if you have that level of incidents, you can incidents and requests, and you can easily differentiate these levels, you can make several layers. Each layer will have a knowledge suitable for these layers. So if you have logs, you have management information, you can decide from these logs what are the area that the first layer should have skills and competencies to cover this knowledge, and so on. So the answer means that depending on your environment, you will have to define the skills. But there are general skills like all of them should have high communication skills. They have to have high interpersonal skills. They have to get a negotiation skills. They have to get a technical skills and troubleshooting skills, so that they can fit in their place. This is in short, and of course I can give you a lot of information, but I will send it to you in email if you need it.
Okay. Yeah, we have other questions. One of the attendees has asked, in the real time, can the incident management team can be called as service desk team?
Yes, the incident management team, the first line support will act as an incident management team. But what type of incidents? The easiest would be for the first line, and the one that level higher than the easy, the medium will be for the second, and the third will be the hard incidents. So the incident management team is the service desk team, yes.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, what is mean of the management information and fees structure for ISO 20000 and how many level?
Example for the management information. How many servers do we have and how many problems do they have? What are the areas that have problems? What are the data and the stamps for timestamps when the issues occur? What are the customers that mostly need the service? What are the least one of them? And where is the most painful area for IT? Where is the least painful area? What are the areas that has heavy duty areas that people heavily depend on? And what are the least, and so on? This will give you a management information. These are examples of management information.
Okay, thank you. Another one is for a customer number of more than 500, how many service desk operators are needed?
In such a case, you have to refer to something called task force. I will write it down. Task force calculation. This is discussed in many places, like COPC. There are some models that use a model called Erlang models. Like we have Erlang A, Erlang B, Erlang C, and so on. This will discuss the models that are used for building the task force. There is also a flat calculation. It is recommended for some places. For instance, for each 50 user, you can give one support guy. From 40 to 50, you will give one support guy. Okay? This is a quick and flat calculation. But if you have models for a working model, you can use the Erlang model for the task force calculations.
Thank you very much. And another question is the ITIL foundation mandatory for the service desk team member?
The ITIL foundation what?
Is the ITIL foundation mandatory for the service desk team members?
I didn't hear the question correctly, but even though, if the ITIL foundation has discussed the service desk in short, not thoroughly. So if you want to learn more about the service desk implementation, you can refer to the reference manual number 4, which is the service operation manual. Service operation manual. This will discuss the service desk in particular and in more detailed information. This is the right answer?
Yeah, I think
Gerard?
yes.
Did I answer correctly?
Yeah, I think yes. Mr. Yahia, thank you very much for answering the questions, and for because we have a limited time, I want to thank you again for this great presentation, and was very informative. Also, I want to thank all the attendees as well for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this webinar. And you can check PCB webinar schedule in our website www.pcb.com. Please, in the end, be informed that next Monday we are hosting another webinar titled Business Recovery with Smart Strategies. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Bye.